never imagined that the day I turned 17 would become the day everything I knew about life, love, and family crumbled into ash. It was supposed to be a milestone, a step into the beginning of adulthood. But instead of birthday cake or friends, or even a simple hug, I got sold. Sold like a possession. My father, whose voice once soothed my nightmares, now used that same voice to tell me I had 30 days to prepare to become the wife of a man who could have been my predator in a horror film. Olaf Snackoff. The name alone felt like a cold iron bar against my spine. He was my father's loan shark, and apparently, he was the key to wiping away the $300,000 my dad had racked up from years of secret gambling and growing desperation. The interest was eating him alive. The solution? Trade his daughter to Olaf like a bargaining chip. My future, my body, my autonomy, all reduced to collateral. The memory of Olaf from 3 years earlier sent bile up my throat. I'd been 14. He'd come to the house for what my dad had called a business dinner, but the way he looked at me across the table made my skin crawl. Thick Russian accent, yellowing teeth from years of cigarettes, and muscles that strained the seams of his tailored suit. Even back then, he asked too many questions about school, boys, my body. Now I realized those weren't innocent questions. They were reconnaissance. The contract was already written when Dad told me. I was to marry Olaf, move into his estate, and provide him with at least 2 children within 2 years. Dad even said it like he was proud of arranging a deal. I stared at him, tears burning behind my eyes, considering calling the police. But that's when he started laughing. You're thinking about the cops? Don't. Olaf has friends everywhere. You call them, you'll only make this worse. That wasn't the worst part. The worst was how calm he was, not angry, not conflicted. Just cold. Resigned. Like I was a deal he'd already signed away. He smashed my phone against the wall and left me in my room, locking the door from the outside. I sat there, trapped, wondering how I'd ever get out. The next day, the house had changed. My door had new locks. Olaf showed up every day. He would put his hand on my shoulder, then slowly slide it further with each visit. The way he called me his sweet bride made me want to disappear into the walls. Sometimes I'd look at my dad, hoping he would intervene, but he never did. He would just nod and smile, like he was proud of the arrangement. And then came the day that broke me completely. Olaf whispered in my ear about all the ways he planned to use me, his breath a toxic mix of whiskey and rot. My father walked in, saw him pull me onto his lap, and instead of outrage, he grinned. How are my 2 lovebirds? That night, I screamed at him, begged, offered to work multiple jobs to repay the debt, but he slammed the door in my face. I stopped eating. I stopped showering. I fantasized about him dropping dead. That was when Aunt Rachel showed up. My father's estranged sister, who disappeared years ago after some vague family drama. She said she'd been where I was. Her father tried to sell her off, too. She had a plan to get me out. I wanted to believe her. I had to believe her. For the first time in weeks, I felt hope. She brought me food when Dad cut back my meals. She gave me a burner phone and told me to stay strong. We were supposed to leave the next night, but something felt off. I woke up thirsty and went downstairs, only to hear her talking on the phone in the guest room. She was laughing. Laughing. Yes, Olaf. She trusts me completely. She'll come willingly. I want my cut, okay? $50,000, like we agreed. The glass nearly slipped from my hand. My chest turned to ice. I backed away before she noticed me and ran to my room, heart pounding. I went through her phone, scrolled her texts, took screenshots of everything. The fake messages to me. The money transfers. She owed money, too. Gambling. Just like my dad. They were both trading me to save themselves. That night, I sent everything to the only person I could think of, Uncle Brian. My dad's older brother. A paralegal I hadn't seen in years, but whose email I remembered from childhood birthday cards. I didn't even know if he still checked it, but I had to try. The next morning, Rachel came in with breakfast and fake warmth. Told me to get dressed. The white dress she gave me looked like a child bride's fantasy. I forced a smile. Thanked her. pretended to still trust her. She ate it up. Olaf arrived. Dad said nothing, just smiled from the porch as they loaded me into Rachel's car. Olaf followed in his SUV. I watched my house disappear in the mirror and wondered if I'd ever come back alive. 20 minutes into the drive, Rachel's phone rang. She answered on Bluetooth. It was Uncle Brian. Her voice cracked as she tried to lie, but when he said he had the emails and photos, she went pale. She hung up and called Olaf. They planned to transfer me to his SUV at the next gas station. I knew I had one shot. As we slowed to pull in, I unbuckled and threw the door open, sprinting toward the convenience store. Olaf caught me, dragging me back by my waist, but then, sirens. Red and blue lights. The police swarmed. Olaf dropped me and tried to run. Rachel shouted at them. Olaf screamed in Russian. I collapsed on the asphalt, sobbing. A female officer wrapped a blanket around me, asked if I was Arya. I told her everything. Uncle Brian arrived with a lawyer. I had proof. They had connections. Olaf and Rachel were arrested. Dad was picked up 3 hours later trying to flee to Canada. The trial was fast. Olaf got 15 years. Rachel got 10. Dad got 12 plus financial fraud charges. Turns out he'd been planning to run the whole time. I moved in with Uncle Brian. His wife was gentle, his kids curious. I was the girl from the news. But I was safe. And then came the miracle I never expected. Mom's life insurance. Because Dad had committed crimes that harmed me, I got everything. $300,000. I used it to finish school, start college. I'm studying social work now. I want to help other kids like me. The ones no one believes. The ones trapped in darkness. On my 18th birthday, a letter from Dad came. I didn't open it. Just marked it, returned to sender. He doesn't get to speak into my life anymore. I'm rebuilding now, brick by brick, scar by scar. Not because I survived, but because I refuse to stay broken. Thank you so much for watching my story on Kindle Stories. If you connected with this journey, found it powerful, or simply couldn't stop listening, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all and truly appreciate your support. Until next time, stay safe and stay strong.